This story took place last November when I went on a hunting trip with my grandpa to Crockett, Texas. I don't get to see my grandpa often as he owns his own company, so when he invited me, I was thrilled to go. Personally, I'm not a big fan of hunting, but I love camping, and I had never been to this particular lease he was taking us to, so I figured, why not? I love exploring new places. I took a few days off work and traveled to Crockett with him. As we approached the gate, I noticed it wasn't a typical entrance like most places I'd visited. It was just a dirt track with an iron gate on the side of a freeway. My grandpa got out to open the gate, and we drove down a long dirt road through the woods until we reached a clearing with an old house in the middle. On our way, he told me his father had built it, and they used it to hunt or just escape the pressures of life. I could certainly see why. It was so peaceful, nestled in the woods. I could barely hear the cars from the freeway. It seemed like the perfect weekend getaway, or so I thought. After pulling into the driveway, we unpacked the truck and cooked dinner. Everything seemed normal. There were old beds where we laid out sheets and blankets, an ancient TV with a VCR, and the stove was notably old-fashioned. After eating, we went to sleep around 8:30 p.m. to ensure we could wake up before dawn for one of the hunting blinds. As I drifted off, I heard a scratching noise coming from one of the screened windows. I didn't think much of it and fell asleep shortly after. The next morning, my grandpa woke me up to get dressed for the blind. Once there, we settled in and surveyed the clearing. We didn't see anything for a couple of hours, so we decided to take a nap. I woke up after only a few minutes and grabbed my binoculars to scan the tree line, which was about 1.5 miles from our blind. I swear, I spotted someone peeking around the trees right at the edge of the woods, as if they knew we were there. It was almost as if they had been watching us the entire time. Thoroughly convinced, I woke my grandpa. He looked through his binoculars, and right then, a herd of deer emerged into the clearing. He just chuckled, telling me there was nothing to worry about, and that it was just wildlife. I was irritated, to say the least. I knew what I saw, and it looked like someone, or at least something. About 30 minutes later, he shot one of the deer, and we took it back to the house to clean and skin it. After gutting the deer, it was about 3 p.m., and we decided what we wanted for dinner, but we needed to head into town for supplies. We hung the deer and left for the store. When we returned, we found claw and bite marks all over the animal's body. My grandpa and I just stared at each other in shock. He looked at me and declared we were going on a night hunt. I asked him what for, and he said he thought it was coyotes. But I didn't think that was the case. This didn't seem normal. After we ate, we grabbed some flashlights and our ARs and went out scouting. We talked for a solid 45 minutes before we heard anything. We got really close to the tree line, and I suddenly turned and saw something peeking out at us again. The second it realized I had noticed it, it quickly hid. I tried everything in my power not to yell for my grandpa, so I gave a light whistle and waved him over to where I'd seen it. He whispered for me to stay put and watch his back. He walked into the woods with his gun raised and disappeared. I stood there for what felt like forever, waiting to hear something. After about 10 minutes, I heard a gunshot. I ran into the woods and saw a coyote next to a mutilated deer. I breathed a sigh of relief seeing my grandpa okay, but he told me the coyote had noticed him and looked like it was about to attack, so he had no choice. We sat there for a moment before we heard rustling in the distance, followed by the most horrifying scream I've ever heard. It wasn't human, and it was definitely not any animal I recognized, but I didn't care to find out. We booked it back to the house as fast as we could, hearing intense, heavy footsteps and heavy breathing coming from behind us. It felt like we would never make it back, but we did. We slammed the door shut and locked every entrance. All we heard were weird screeching sounds and breathing right outside the door. Whatever it was began to get frustrated and slammed against the door a couple of times. My grandpa got tired of being scared and shot through the door a couple of times. It must have hurt whatever was on the other side because it made that terrifying. Screech again and then ran away. As soon as we could catch our breath, I called the police and told them what happened. They were obviously skeptical, but when the deputy arrived, he didn't know what to think either. We showed him everything we found. He seemed pretty unsettled by it too. Nothing ever came back from that call, but needless to say, we probably won't ever be going back to that house again. In moments of fear, uncertainty, or danger, reciting Ayatul Kursi acts as a powerful shield. It reminds us that Allah is the ultimate protector over all things. Recite it after every prayer, before sleeping, and when leaving home. No harm can touch you when Allah's protection surrounds you.